On December 14th, 2012, we saw evil. But we also saw good. We saw tragedy, but we also saw actions that should continue to inspire us. The evil was in a deranged young man who committed unspeakable and unimaginable horrific acts. But the good was exemplified by the police and the emergency responders and the teachers who not only risked their lives, but saved other lives. And the good was something that came forward in the days and months and in the past 2 years. Often I visit the playgrounds that have been built throughout the state of Connecticut in memory of those children. In memory of Charlotte Bacon in West Haven and Anna Grace Marquez Green in Hartford, Jessica Rebus in Fairfield, Dylan Hockley in Westport, and Victoria Soto in Stratford. I visit them to watch children playing. Children often the same ages as the wonderful, beautiful children who perished on that day, and parents about the same age as the teachers who lost their lives, 6th grade educators. On that day, parents in Newtown took their children to school, kissed them goodbye, and went about their days, went to work to plan play dates and snack breaks and holiday parties. And just hours into that morning, many parents were standing at the Sandy Hook Volunteer Fire Station, where I also went that day. And what I saw was through the eyes of a parent, not just a public official. The cries of grief, the faces and voices filled with tears and longing. Those images I will never forget, and they have redoubled my own determination to try to make America safer and better, to keep faith with those 26 wonderful people whose lives were lost that day, and more than 30,000 people who have perished in the United States as a result of gun violence simply because many of them were in the wrong place at the wrong time, on streets or in neighborhoods or in their own homes. And the good that's done every day by our police and firemen and emergency responders to try to stem and stop this epidemic of violence cannot overcome the flood of guns in our nation and cannot compensate for the lack of effective measures to make America safer and better by making our laws against gun violence more effective. I will never forget that day or any of the victims or their families, and I hope America never forgets them as well. We are memorializing now their wonderful lives by acts of kindness. But the best and truest way to memorialize them in history is to approve effective, common sense, sensible measures against gun violence. In the aftermath of those horrific events of December 13th, all of Connecticut, certainly in Newtown and in our state, came together to lift up those who were so devastatingly impacted. And those families have shown incredible strength. They sat in the galleries here, they came to visit us and our colleagues, urging action. Congress's failure to act is contemptible and unconscionable and a betrayal of those memories. And so the action that ultimately is truest and best as a memorial to them will be for this Congress to act. In Newtown, around the nation, every community in some way was affected in those days and in some way came together with Newtown. And so my hope is still that that spirit will be an inspiration to action, that it will be an impetus to the Congress for effective common sense measures that will protect countless others who are in danger and who will die if Congress does not act. More than 60,000 firearm deaths have occurred since December 14, 2012, 32,000 firearm deaths per year. Those families demonstrated unrelenting resolve, and so should we. And we will. It took more than 10 years for the Brady Law to be approved, even after a president of the United States was almost assassinated and his press secretary, Jim Brady, was severely injured and paralyzed. I hope it won't take 10 years for action to be taken by Congress, but we need the persistence and perseverance that will carry us through however long it takes to achieve lasting reform. I have been proud to serve as a member of the Judiciary Committee and work hard for this measure, helping to lead the effort to approve the ban on high-capacity magazines as well as assault weapons and background checks. But a mental health initiative and a school safety initiative have also been part of what we need to do. And I will continue my work on those efforts, mental health and school safety, bills that I've introduced, and the Lori Jackson Domestic Violence Survivor Protection Act. Lori Jackson was estranged from her husband and endangered by him. She obtained a court order because of that danger and because of real evidence of that danger. And that court order, unfortunately, failed to save her life because it was only temporary, and it failed to take away from her husband the guns that he had, and the Lori Jackson Protection Act will fill that gap in our laws now. Women are 5 times as likely to die as a result of domestic violence when there is a gun in the home. 1 in 5 women are victims of domestic violence at some point in their lives. That's the reason that on many fronts we need to continue this fight. On my wrist since that day, or about then on December 14, I've worn a bracelet, as I do today. The writing has faded, no longer visible. But one thing it said was, love wins. Love wins. I truly believe that love won in Newtown. That love won when Connecticut's legislature passed a strong and effective measure. A next step, not the end of the work, but a next step. I believe that love won through the grace and courage and strength of the families of those children and the loved ones of the teachers who lost their lives. I believe love wins every day in our classrooms around the nation when teachers work hard, and they work hard, and they resolve to keep their children safe. Love wins every day when someone stands up and speaks out against gun violence. Love will win eventually. Honor will win. We will honor those children, and we will celebrate the love that they felt so deeply and unconditionally, as only children can, unqualifiedly for their parents and their community. And I believe that love will win eventually, as long as we keep working. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.